The small hand grabbed the back of a leather jacket. That's it. That's where this starts. A hand, smaller than a fist, just there at the hem holding on. Diesel stopped walking. She didn't spin around. She turned slow, one boot dragging against the gravel, the way a person turns when they already know something is different about this moment, even if they can't say what. She looked down. The little girl was maybe 7, brown hair falling in her eyes, knees scraped raw, dress a size too small. She was standing there alone in the parking lot of a roadside diner outside Bakersfield, in the kind of heat that makes the asphalt feel soft under your feet, and she was looking up at Diesel the way a kid looks at something they've been searching for without knowing it. No parent nearby, no adult watching from the window, nobody. Diesel stared at her. 30 hard years of road were written on her face. There was a knife in her boot. The patch on her jacket said exactly what she was. Hell's Angels. She wasn't built for this kind of moment. She'd never claimed to be. Then the little girl opened her mouth. And what she asked next, it stopped a biker bar cold. It was just past noon. Diesel had been on the road since 5 that morning. Her bike was parked outside with 4 others, all big cruisers leaning the same direction like horses tied to a post. 5 members of her chapter had stopped here for coffee and eggs. The rest were a mile up at the gas station. She ducked out for a smoke. That was when the hand found her jacket. The little girl just kept looking up at her. Brown eyes, steady, waiting. "What did you say to me?" The girl repeated it. Slower this time, like she'd rehearsed the words on the walk across the parking lot. "I don't have a mama." "Can I spend a day with you, ma'am?" Diesel didn't move, didn't blink. She had been called a lot of things in her life. Ma'am was not one of them. "Where's your daddy?" The girl pointed back toward the diner. Through the dusty window, Diesel could see a man in a brown apron behind the counter, working the grill. Sweat on his forehead. 3 plates lined up next to him. He was deep in the weeds and didn't even know his daughter had walked outside. "Does he know you're out here?" The girl shook her head. "He's working a double." "He's tired." Diesel knelt down, not gently. Her face didn't change. But she put one knee on the gravel and got down to the girl's level and looked at her straight. "How old are you, kid?" 7. "Why me?" The little girl didn't answer right away. She reached into the front pocket of her dress and pulled out something folded, worn soft at the edges. A photograph. Diesel took it carefully. A woman, maybe 30, dark hair. Wearing a leather jacket, standing next to a motorcycle, smiling like she meant it. "That was my mom," the little girl said. "She had a bike, too. She died last year." "Daddy says she's with God now." A pause. "I just wanted to see somebody who looked like her for one day, so I can remember her better." Diesel looked at that photograph for a long time. She'd heard a lot of things in her life. Drug dealers, cops, ex-husbands, lawyers, all of them wanting something, framing it in ways designed to get past her. She knew every version of a pitch. She had never heard anything like this. No angle, no catch. Just a 7-year-old girl holding a photograph in a parking lot, asking for one day. Diesel handed the photo back. "What's your name, kid?" "Lily." "Lily what?" "Lily Marie Adams." Diesel stood up, brushed gravel off her knee. "Go inside and tell your daddy a friend of your mama's wants to talk to him." Lily's eyes went huge. "Are you saying yes?" "I'm saying I want to talk to your daddy." The girl turned and ran. Pigtails bouncing, sneakers slapping the concrete. Diesel watched her until she disappeared through the diner door. Then she stood alone in the parking lot, lit her cigarette. Her hand was shaking. She looked at it like it belonged to someone else. Diesel had ridden through 3 states on a broken collarbone once. She'd buried 2 husbands and hadn't cried at either funeral. Men twice her size had tried to make her afraid and walked away with a clear understanding that they had failed. She did not get rattled. But a little girl with a folded photograph had just asked her a question, and her hands were shaking. The other riders came out of the diner about a minute later. Big Jim, Reno, Two-Tone, Roach. They saw her face and they knew. They'd known her long enough to know when something had happened. None of them asked. They just waited. "I'll catch up with you boys," Diesel said. "Got something to handle." Big Jim raised an eyebrow. Trouble? No, she said. Opposite of trouble, I think. She went back inside, sat at the counter. Lily was already on the stool next to her, sitting up straight. The father came out from the kitchen, wiping his hands on a towel. He was thin, 35 maybe, carrying the kind of tired that sleep doesn't touch. Ma'am, I am so sorry. She knows she's not supposed to bother strangers. She didn't bother me, Diesel said. She asked me a question. He looked at his daughter, then at the photograph still in Lily's hand. His jaw went soft and then hard again in the same moment, the particular face of a man trying to hold something together in public. I appreciate it, ma'am. But you don't owe my daughter anything. I know I don't, Diesel said. That's why I'm asking. She slid a napkin across the counter, wrote her number on it. Saturday, if you say yes, call me Friday night. You don't say yes, throw the napkin away. I won't come around again. He stared at the napkin, then at Lily, then at Diesel. Why are you doing this? She didn't have an answer that would have made sense to him. She barely had one that made sense to her. Because she asked, Diesel said. And because somebody should have said yes. She walked out, got on her bike, caught up with her crew on the highway. She didn't say a word about it the rest of the ride. Friday night, Diesel was sitting on her porch in a chair her second husband had built before he died. The sun was almost down. The air had gone still. The phone rang at 7:13. She let it ring twice. This is Tom Adams, the man said. Lily's dad. I remember. A long pause, then. She hasn't slept right all week. She keeps waking up to ask what time it is on Saturday. Diesel almost smiled. Almost. What time should I come get her? She said 9. Is 9 too early? 9 is fine. A beat. Ma'am, Carla, whatever I'm supposed to call you, I have to ask you something. Go ahead. Are you going to break her heart? His voice was even, but not easy. Because if you are, I'd rather you not show up at all. Diesel closed her eyes. She had asked herself the same question every single day for the past 6 days. I'm going to do my best not to, she said. That's the most honest answer I have for you. He thought about it. All right, 9 o'clock. Don't be late. She didn't put on the jacket the next morning. 15 years, she'd worn that jacket nearly every day. It was as close to a second skin as anything she owned. That morning, she put on a clean denim shirt, tucked it in, combed her hair, stood in front of the mirror for a long time. Didn't recognize the woman looking back. She took her pickup truck, not the bike. A truck has seatbelts, and 7-year-olds are supposed to ride in back with seatbelts. She'd looked it up on the kitchen computer the night before, feeling slightly ridiculous about it, like a first-time mother 20 years too late. She pulled up at 9 on the dot. Second-floor apartment, hallway smelling like other people's dinners. Tom answered the door in a clean shirt that had been ironed badly. Lily was already wearing her jacket, little pink one with a hood, stuffed bare under her arm, hair brushed twice. The second pass had clearly been her own doing. Bye, Daddy. Tom kissed the top of her head. He looked at Diesel the way people look at something they're not sure whether to trust. He didn't say anything. He didn't need to. I'll have her back by 6, Diesel said. He nodded and closed the door. In the truck, Lily sat in the back seat with the bear on her lap. Diesel had put a phone book on the seat to give her some height. Where are we going? Lily asked. Figured you'd tell me. Lily blinked at her in the rearview mirror. I don't know. I never had a day like this before. Then we'll figure it out together. They started at a pancake place. Lily ordered a stack the size of her own head and finished 2 of them. Diesel ate the third without commenting on it. They went to a park. Lily wanted to feed the ducks, so they stopped at a corner store for a loaf of bread. Lily threw it 1 piece at a time, carefully, like each piece was a decision. Diesel stood beside her and watched. She didn't check her phone, didn't look at the time, just watched a small girl feed ducks very seriously in the California sun. The toy store they walked through just for the sake of it. Lily didn't ask for anything. Diesel offered 3 times, and 3 times Lily said, no thank you, in the automatic way of a kid who'd been taught that phrase so thoroughly it had become reflex. So Diesel pointed at a stuffed elephant and said, I'm getting that for you. It's not optional. Lily held the elephant the rest of the day. At the library, Lily read 3 books out loud in a small, careful voice, while Diesel sat beside her and listened. Diesel had not been read to since she was 6 years old. She had never been read to by a child. She did not know what to do with how that felt. They got ice cream. Both got chocolate. I never met a grown-up who got chocolate before, Lily said. Grown-ups who get vanilla are lying about something. Lily laughed. It was the first time Diesel had heard her laugh. Small, surprised, like it got away from her. Something inside Diesel's chest moved that had not moved in a very long time. By 4 in the afternoon, they were at a bigger park. There was a pond, a bench under a tree, and Diesel had bought another loaf of bread. Lily tore it to pieces at the water's edge, same careful ritual as before. The day had gone faster than any Diesel could remember. She kept catching herself smiling. Then catching herself smiling, which was its own strange thing. Lily ran out of bread and came back to the bench. She climbed up, settled in, and leaned against Diesel's arm. My mom used to take me to a pond like this, she said. We had a special bench. It wasn't this one, but it was kind of like this one. Diesel didn't say anything. This was a good day, Lily said. Yeah, kid, it was. A little while later, Lily's head got heavier against her arm. Her breathing slowed. Diesel looked down. She was asleep. The stuffed elephant tucked under her chin. Diesel didn't move. She sat very still on that bench with a small girl asleep against her shoulder, and the afternoon light coming sideways through the trees, and the ducks still turning lazy circles in the water. And she felt something she had not felt in maybe 20 years. Safe, just safe, like the world had gone quiet on purpose. Then she heard the boots on the gravel, 3 men coming up the path. She knew that walk before she even looked up, slow, spread out, heels landing heavy. Men who wanted you to hear them coming. She knew the one in front. Carl Reaper, kicked out of a chapter 2 states over, 5 years back, for things that even outlaw bikers wouldn't tolerate. He had a long memory and a small brain, and the last time Diesel had seen him, he'd told her he was going to find her on a day when she wasn't ready. He wasn't wrong about the timing. Lily was still asleep against her shoulder. The 3 men stopped about 10 feet from the bench. Well, look at this, Carl said. Diesel out here playing house. Her phone was in her jacket. Her jacket was in the truck. The truck was 100 yards away. Her crew, 2-tone, Big Jim, all of them were nowhere near this park. There was a sleeping 7-year-old leaning on her arm. She had been in worse spots, not many. Carl, she kept her voice low, you don't want to do this here, don't I? He took a step closer. I've been waiting a long time, Diesel. There's a child. I see her. And that was the moment Diesel understood exactly what kind of day this had become. This wasn't pride anymore. This wasn't a Saturday. She moved slowly, slid one arm around Lily, lifted her off her shoulder, eased the girl's head down onto the bench like a pillow. Lily mumbled something, didn't wake. The stuffed elephant slipped into her lap. Diesel stood up, stepped away from the bench, 3 steps, 4, putting distance between the men and the child. You want me, you come over here. You go anywhere near that bench, I don't stop. We clear, Carl smiled, took another step. The 2 behind him spread out, one left, one right. Diesel didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. Carl. Look at my face. I am not afraid of you. I have never been afraid of you. In my whole life, I have been afraid of exactly 2 things, and you are not one of them. She let that sit. But that little girl on that bench has been afraid of one thing every single day for the past year, being alone. So if you want to come at me, you come. But if any one of you looks at that bench, I will spend whatever's left of my life finding you, and you boys know I will. Carl stopped walking. You ever see a dog that's been barking for 10 minutes, and then the porch light comes on, and the dog suddenly remembers it's a small dog? That kind of stop. But Carl was never quite smart enough to walk all the way back from anything. He took one more step, reached for her arm. Diesel hit him once, right under the chin, her whole body behind it. His head snapped back, his knees folded. He hit the gravel like a dropped bag of laundry, and he did not get up. The two behind him stood very still. "Pick him up," Diesel said. "Walk." They picked him up. They walked. They didn't look back. Diesel watched them until they cleared the tree line and disappeared from the park. Then she went back to the bench. Lily was still asleep. Diesel sat down beside her, put one hand on the little girl's back, felt her breathe, just breathe. And then Diesel did something she had not done since the night her own daughter was born, 31 years ago. She cried. Not a long time, just a few seconds. Just long enough for the day to catch up with her all at once. She wiped her face, picked Lily up, elephant and all, carried her to the truck and drove back to the apartment slow. Real slow. Like she was carrying something irreplaceable. Lily woke up in the parking lot. She rubbed her eyes. "Are we home?" "Yeah, kid." "Was it a good day?" Diesel smiled. A real one, the kind that arrived on her face without her permission. "Yeah." It was a good day. But upstairs, the apartment door was open. Tom was on the couch with his head in his hands. He didn't look up when they came in. He was holding a piece of paper. Lily ran to him, wrapped her arms around his neck, showed him the elephant, told him everything, the ducks, the pancakes, the books at the library, all of it in the space of 30 seconds. Tom kissed the top of her head and tried to smile. He was bad at it. When Lily ran to her room to put the elephant on her bed, Tom looked up at Diesel. He held out the paper. It was an eviction notice, 3 days. Diesel read it twice, folded it, set it on the coffee table. "How much do you owe?" "It's not just the rent," Tom said. "Medical bills from when Sarah was sick." Hospitals sold the debt to a collection company. They garnished my last paycheck. I can't climb out of it. I've been trying for a year. "How much?" $1,100 for the rent. $26,000 on the medical. Diesel was quiet. "The job pays $980 after taxes. I work doubles when I can get them." "There aren't enough doubles in a week to make this go away." "Where would you go?" she asked. He looked at the floor. "My sister's in Phoenix. She has 3 kids and a husband who drinks. If we go there, Lily ends up sharing a room with a cousin who hits her. If we don't go there, we end up in a shelter." "Have you told her?" "I can't tell her." Diesel stood up, went to the window. Looked down at the parking lot, her truck, a Honda with a flat tire, a dumpster that needed emptying. "Tom," she said, "I'm coming back tomorrow morning. Don't pack anything. Don't go anywhere. Just be here. What are you going to do?" "I don't know yet, but I'm going to do something." She didn't go home. She drove straight to the clubhouse, long, low building outside of town, fence, gravel lot, 21 motorcycles in a row. She walked in the front door without knocking. Big Jim at the bar. Reno at the pool table. Two-tone asleep in a chair. She walked to the middle of the room. "I need a meeting right now." You don't just call a meeting in a chapter. There are rules, protocols. Hands that need to be raised. She had never asked them for a meeting in 15 years, so they had a meeting. She told them everything. The photograph, the parking lot, the day. Carl Reaper at the park, the eviction notice, the medical debt. A man named Tom Adams who was about to lose his daughter to the system because he couldn't make $26,000 appear out of nowhere. She told them she wasn't asking them to fix it. She was asking them to help her fix it. When she was done, the room was quiet. Then Big Jim stood up, pulled his wallet out, took out a roll of 20s, set it on the table. $300, he said. "All I got on me, I'll bring more Monday." Reno stood up, then 2 others, then 6. By the time the meeting was over, there was $1,100 on the table for the rent and another $4,000 toward the medical bills. Not enough, but a start. Then Big Jim said, "My brother runs a body shop in Fresno. Been looking for somebody honest. 18 an hour, benefits after 90 days. He'll start Tom on Monday, you say the word." Diesel sat down at that table, put her face in her hands. She did not move for a full minute. The next morning, she didn't bring the money first. She sat down on the couch, reached into her jacket, and took out her own wallet. Old leather cracked at the seams. She opened it and slid out a small photograph. A baby, 6 months old, pink blanket, dark hair. A tiny fist wrapped around the finger of a younger Diesel, who was looking down at the baby with a face nobody in that chapter had ever seen on her. Her name was Hannah, Diesel said. She was mine. I had her when I was 18. I was not in any shape to be a mother. I thought I was, but I was wrong. The state took her when she was 2, gave her to a family in Oregon. I signed the papers. She looked at the photograph. They told me it was the best thing for her. I believe they were right. But there has not been a single day since I signed those papers that I haven't thought about her. Tom didn't say anything. Hannah is 31 years old now. I don't know what she does. I don't know if she's married, if she has kids. I have a private investigator who tells me she's alive and she's well, and that's all I'm allowed to know. She slid the photograph back into her wallet. When your daughter walked up to me in that parking lot, she didn't know any of that. She just asked a question. But the question she asked has been waiting for me for 31 years. She looked at Tom. So when I tell you what I'm about to tell you, I want you to understand. You are not taking anything from me. You are giving me something. She put the brown envelope on the table. $1,100 for the rent. $4,000 toward the bills. A phone number and an address in Fresno. A start date. Monday, 6 in the morning. Take the job, take the money. Don't pay me back, pay it forward. When your daughter is grown and somebody else's daughter is standing in a parking lot with a photograph. Tom tried to speak. He couldn't. He put his hand on hers. That was all. 6 months went by. Tom started at the body shop on Monday. He was good at it. By the end of the first month, he had a regular schedule and benefits coming. By the end of the third, he'd moved into a 2-bedroom apartment with a small yard and a maple tree out front. Lily had her own room for the first time in her life. She painted the walls light blue. Put up a shelf for books. The stuffed elephant sat in the place of honor. On the dresser, there were 2 frames. One held the photograph of her mother. The other, a Christmas present, new, held a picture of Diesel and Lily standing next to the truck at a state fair the week before Thanksgiving. Lily was holding a stuffed pig she'd won at ring toss. Diesel was holding a corn dog. They were both squinting because the sun was bad. Lily called it her favorite picture. Tom said it was his, too. Diesel came over once a week, sometimes twice. She brought groceries, books. She fixed the leak under the kitchen sink without being asked, changed the oil in Tom's car, taught Lily how to use a screwdriver. She never stayed long. She wasn't built for staying. But she came back, every week without fail. The chapter started showing up, too. Big Jim brought firewood for the winter. Reno brought a used bicycle repainted with new tires. Two-Tone brought a casserole his late wife used to make, hadn't made it in 8 years, and he cried a little when he handed it over and didn't apologize for it. Tom didn't ask questions. He just made room at the table. There was a Saturday in March, near the end of all of this, where Lily was out in the yard and Diesel was on the porch with Tom drinking coffee, not saying much. Lily came running up the steps. "Aunt Diesel, look what I made you." A drawing on a folded piece of paper. A house, 2 figures in front, one tall in a leather jacket, one small in a pink coat. Sun in the corner, at the top in big uneven letters, home. "That's good, kid. It's for you. I'll put it on my fridge." "No," Lily said, "not your fridge." Diesel looked at her. "Your wallet," Lily said. "That's where you keep the important pictures." Diesel didn't speak for a long moment. Then she took the drawing, folded it, carefully, exactly the way a small girl had once folded a photograph in a parking lot, and slid it into her wallet. Right behind the photo of Hannah, at 6 months old. "All right, it's there." Lily ran back into the yard. Tom watched her go, then looked at Diesel. "She called you something the other night," he said. "She was half asleep." "She didn't mean to. What did she call me?" "Mama." Diesel didn't answer right away. "Did you correct her?" "No." "Did she correct herself?" "Yeah," got embarrassed. Rolled over and pretended she was already asleep. Diesel smiled, small and tired and completely at peace. "Tell her something for me next time. Tell her she doesn't have to correct it." "Nobody has to correct it. She can call me whatever she wants to call me." She looked out at the yard. "I'm not replacing anything. I'm just here." Here's the thing about a story like this. You think it's building toward one big moment. A speech, a reunion, a goodbye at an airport, something that lands like a closing chord. But real life doesn't end like that. Real life just keeps going, quietly, slowly, one Saturday at a time. Diesel kept writing. The chapter kept writing. Big Jim died about 2 years later of a heart attack on a quiet Wednesday, and Lily went to the funeral in a black dress and a leather jacket Diesel had given her for her birthday. And she stood straight the whole time. Reno walked her down the aisle when she got married, 13 years after that. She named her first daughter Sarah, after her mother. She named her second daughter Hannah. When Diesel asked her why Hannah, Lily said, "Because somebody should know that was a good name." Diesel never did find her own Hannah. The investigator died. The trail went cold. That door stayed closed, the way some doors do. But Lily had a question once when she was 14. She was sitting on the porch with Diesel, and she'd been turning it over for a while, the way teenagers do when they're working up to something real. "Why did you say yes that day in the parking lot?" Diesel thought about it. "Because somebody should have. That's the same answer you gave my dad. It's the only answer I have." Lily was quiet for a while, then she said, "I'm glad it was you." Diesel didn't answer. She just put her arm around the kid who wasn't so little anymore, and they sat together on the porch as the sun went down. The day was good. The next day would be good, and the day after that. Not because the hard things were gone. They weren't. But because one September afternoon in a parking lot outside Bakersfield, a small hand had reached up and grabbed the back of a leather jacket, and the woman wearing it had turned around. That was enough. That was everything.